I'll get things started. Good evening, everyone. It's about 7:05, Monday, January 4th, 2021. This is the first meeting of the HPC in the new year. We have just a few items on the agenda tonight. First of all, before we get started with the agenda, though, I'll just ask that we do a roll call. This is, again, Adam Markovic speaking.
Joyce Cole.
Catherine Wilson.
Adam, since you have no quorum, you can't take any action tonight, but you can certainly congratulate Emily on her essay.
And that's where we'll start. Emily, congratulations. I want to congratulate you on doing a terrific job with the essay that you wrote in response to the contest. You really did an outstanding job of presenting an overview of the history of the Crotonville School, as well as an overview of the architecture of the building, and an explanation of why you chose that building and why it means something to you in particular. And I think it comes through that it's a building that's particularly captured your imagination. And I think I speak for everyone on the commission that we hope that you can maintain your interest in historic architecture and historic buildings in the village of Ossining and beyond going forward. So if you have any questions at all about the work that we do at the HPC, you know how to reach me, certainly. We're always happy to field questions and spread the word. You know, tell your classmates about the work that we do and about this contest, which I hope we will do on a yearly basis. And Philip Ferranda, who's a member of the commission, isn't here this evening, but I want to acknowledge Philip's company, J. Philip Real Estate, which sponsored the contest and underwrote the cash prizes. So I hope we can do this on an annual basis. Emily, you are the first. And again, you did an outstanding job. Spread the word. And that's it.
That's
Unless
good.
you have anything you'd like to say.
Nope, not really.
Okay. That's okay, Emily.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Adam, may I say something before
Absolutely.
Emily signs out? Emily, how are you? My name is actually Manuel Quesada. I'm not part of the HPC, but I am a member of the village board here on the political part. So I do want to thank you for your participation on this contest, which was an idea that the HPC Adam started way back at the beginning of last year, I want to say. And it was something that I, coming from an architectural background, and I used to be part of the HPC, I thought it was an awesome idea. So I do want to thank you and all the participants that actually had the chance and opportunity to be part of this this contest. Please don't ever lose the love and the passion for something like this. It's very important for us to keep, encouraging young minds like yours to do this kind of challenge, I guess, in a way. Sure, a little bit of history of our village, of our municipality. But let me ask you a quick question. What's the major that you're thinking of choosing at some point when you go to college?
For now, I'm thinking of investment banking, but I'm also in the science research program.
Very nice.
And I'm doing this neuroscience project, so maybe I might go into that instead. We'll see.
Very nice. Well, I'm very, very proud of that. Definitely keep going with that, and don't lose the passion of history. I think that the measures that you're going through are definitely something that I will encourage my own kids. But history itself and buildings have a lot of history as well, and they're very unique in character, as you put it so well in your essay. So I thank you for that. So thank you so much for the participation for this project. So thank you.
Thank you again, Emily. We really appreciate your effort, and do spread the word.
Anytime.
Okay. Having congratulated Emily, I think we can move on to our other agenda items. And Emily, you don't feel obligated to stay. You're welcome to stay, but I know it's a school night, so you do what you have to do. There is no pressure
Okay.
at all to hang out, okay?
Okay. Have a great evening.
All right, Emily, thanks.
Goodbye.
Okay, two more items on the agenda. One item is historic markers. We've had some inquiries from the public about expanding Museum in the Streets and perhaps sponsoring a Pomeroy Foundation sign in relation to Sojourner Truth. Joyce Cole has been part of this correspondence, and I wonder if, Joyce, you could say a word or two about the inquiries that we've had.
Yes. Hello, everyone. The first one was from Miguel Hernandez, a former mayor and HPC member. He was interested in assisting the HPC in getting a marker for Sojourner Truth. He's particularly her 2 years in Sing Sing around 1832, where she was a servant that was accused, she was a slave. She was out of slavery, and she was a servant for Prophet Matthias, and was accused of killing or murdering by poison her former employer, and she sued and won, which is an incredible feat for someone of African-American descent at that time period. And she was a famous abolitionist, as we all know, and women's rights activist and an evangelist. So he was very interested in trying to get a marker there. It was just outside of Sing Sing, closer to Briarcliff, that little area there. So he was interested in that. He wanted to work with us. And the second mile marker came from a resident.
Joyce, my understanding was that Sojourner Truth had a connection to the Campwood settlement.
What he wanted to do it for was her involvement with Prophet Matthias in that home. If that would make the case even stronger with the Campwood settlement. I don't have her involvement there. I know about the trial and with Prophet Matthias. And I'm sure there has to be a deeper connection because she was an abolitionist. And we know that the Underground Railroad trail went through Westchester as well.
So the location of the sign, proposed sign, would be where exactly?
It's literally right outside. We would have to get permission. It's on 9, right outside of, almost where Revolutionary Road is, right outside of there, where the church is, where there's a complex there. We would have to get permission from the condo complex where the house used to be to put a sign there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I wonder if the connection to Campwoods is stronger. I'm actually, I hadn't looked into the emails, but I don't know if it's that she resided there or passed through there and gave several speeches at Campwoods. I'm just not sure offhand.
I could look into that. I mean, I haven't found any written documentation of her being at the Campwoods settlement. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. I'll just look into it. But I am very aware of the stint she had for 2 years with the Prophet Matthias at that home, where she was a servant for 2 years.
Okay, so she was a servant at that home.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that's pretty compelling, I think.
Oh yeah, it's quite an incredible story, but I mean, you have to put it in a historical context. She was a woman and she was Black, and she sued a white man and won. That's just compelling in itself for her time period.
Do you happen to know where she sued him?
It was in the courts of the court in White Plains. I just requested the transcript. I'm waiting for that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right, interesting. Well, this is something, it's an interesting proposal and something we should certainly revisit. Was a specific reference made to that Pomeroy Foundation?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
He said that he has worked, I guess, under being with the HPC with them on signs before, and he did mention another company as well, but obtaining the signage. He thinks felt very confident that he would be able to help us in getting that done.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And you are doing some more research on that now. Yeah, it might be interesting to see if you turn up anything about Camp Woods, and maybe the pros and cons of situating a sign there versus in front of this residence, which is now a condominium complex.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely be following this. It sounds very interesting.
I mean, it's plausible about Camp Woods. I'll look into it because she was an evangelist. She had a very strong faith and in fact, thought that God was directly talking to her in a lot of stuff that she did do. So that's going to be interesting to look up.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
So the second request, I just want to bring it up 1 second, was for the mile markers for the Albany Post Road. Actually, we had a resident that was passing Nelson Park, and he happened to walk with his wife and see mile marker 35. It's facing 9, right there at the park. When you're going down right across from the apartment complexes right there, it's literally right in the center, close to the bus stop a little bit. You see it's right there. It's starting to break apart a little bit, but there's a lot there to salvage. He was saying that he would love for us to get a marker, and he's willing to make a sizable donation to make that happen.
Okay. Just a marker or some work?
He wanted signage there. He wanted to talk about what it is. He was very interested in the history. So Benjamin Franklin was the postmaster general at this time. It was around 1775, where they were trying to figure out how to charge for postage, because at that time the recipients paid for the postage. So they had to figure out from City Hall in Manhattan up to Albany what the mile marker was. So Benjamin Franklin created this wheel, and then the wheel had a clasp, and it will click every time it hit a mile, and that's where they dropped the mile markers. So the mile marker he's referring to is mile marker 35.
There's some controversy about whether it's in the original location it was in. It's right now it's embedded in a wall, right?
No, there's 2 in Ossining. The one he's referring to is right in Nelson Park, and it's erect, it's upright in the ground. There is another one in the wall at the high school, which is marked mile marker 31.
Okay, I'm sorry, I've gotten those confused. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So that's what he wanted. He wanted to have a sign there similar to like the museum in the streets, where it gives a little background on why it was marked 35 and the reason for it. I know that the wording on those becomes costly, the more text you put on it. So we'd really have to be concise in summing up the history of the mile markers.
Have you looked at the existing signage for the mile marker at the high school?
I have not yet, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I will take a look. I mean, but you did mention the controversy is, what is that the original location? I mean, even if it's not, it's still one of the original mile markers, whether it's in the right place or not. It's still an original that we can still give some historical context to.
Okay. previously, the HPC had discussed expanding the museum in the streets to include other sites sort of outside the immediate downtown vicinity. This potentially would be something that could be included in expansion of the museum in the streets, right?
It could, yes, very well be.
Now, I think it might make sense to reach out to the museum in the streets people. I don't know if Steve Casey indicated an interest in doing that, to inquire about pricing and how many sites they think it would be worthwhile to pursue an expansion project. There's a main sort of central key on Main Street, somewhat near Open Door, the medical facility. And so that would need to be altered to include the additional sites, I assume. So I think we need to get a sense from the museum and the streets people about pricing and how many sites it would make sense to, or a minimum number of sites it would make sense to consider adding to the existing project.
Agreed. I agree.
This is maybe something I can follow up with Steve Casey about offline.
Okay.
Is that it, Joyce?
Yeah, that was the only two requests.
Okay. All right. I think we can then move on to the final item of the agenda, about which I've got not too much to say, and that's the First Baptist Church. I would love to find a way of raising the funds necessary to restore, at the very least, the steeple, but there are other features of this building that are also in bad shape and are deteriorating. My contact at the First Baptist Church has just left the state. She is retiring and is moving to Florida. But she has given me the name of a new contact who, her first name is Hazel. I don't recall the last name offhand, whose contact information she provided me right before the new year. I left a message for this new contact earlier today. I haven't heard back yet, but I will follow with her. And I think that the plan would be to see just what they have generated in terms of grant applications and the paperwork that had been completed to date, possibly with the assistance of Joanne Tall. I think having looked into various avenues, that maybe the most promising way forward at this point would be to assist the First Baptist Church in applying for a technical assistance grant, which is a kind of grant offered through the New York Landmarks Conservancy is one, the New York Preservation League is another. It's a kind of grant that allows a building owner to just understand what needs to be done first, second, third, what's most urgent, and the approximate cost of these things, or at least how to go about, getting cost estimates for these things. That's what the technical assistance grants, they're small grants, something on the order of $10,000 or less, are intended to do, sort of provide assistance to building owners to figure out what aspects of the building need to be addressed in terms of rehabilitation, and how to get cost estimates, and maybe even helping get cost estimates for the work that needs to be done. Because part of the issue I think I was running up against is a feeling of shooting a little bit blindly. I mean, in speaking to my contact, it was not altogether clear just how many cost estimates had been obtained, how expensive the project of at least restoring the steeple would be. And I want to, I think, help the First Baptist Church to the extent we can in getting a clear idea of what needs to be done and how much it'll cost. So that's all I've got to say about that. Catherine or Joyce, if you have any questions or anything to add about that, that's it. It's just something that I want to keep on the HPC's radar. It is a church that is right smack in the middle of our village and has been in the middle of our village for 160, 170 years now. An iconic part of the downtown, and I just it's very distressing to see it crumbling before our eyes.
I just want to add, Adam, that I feel the same way you do about the church, and in an endeavor that I'm doing for Black History Month, I'm actually going to highlight First Baptist because it gave the first Black church of Ossining, which is Star Bethlehem, its start. So its history of inclusion and community should be celebrated. And I think everyone should be pitching in to help this church because it was very welcoming in the time that wasn't welcoming. So I feel very strongly that we should be getting some community support in helping First Baptist.
Okay. Well, that's all I have. Anyone else care to raise any other issues? If not, we can keep it short and I can make a motion to adjourn.
I just wanted to point out that I noticed on one of the Three Sisters houses, work was done on the porch and the railings were replaced, so they no longer match the other two. There was already some moments that didn't match, but overall from a distance it was more consistent. So now it's just, I would hate to see more changes happen that further, make those houses, that just remove them. I mean, they're very special and very unique. And, as an architecture background, this is painful for me to see stuff like that happen. And because I'm on this commission, I know it's a private residence. I know Alice wasn't landmarked, but I don't know, seeing stuff like that is hard. So like with the Tiffany window. So I just wanted to bring it up. Just as an observation of, something I want the Historic Preservation Commission to, stop. Possible.
Okay. Could you, Catherine, I haven't seen it and I hadn't heard about it. Could you be more specific about the changes that were made?
So the front porch has, like the railing, it was like cut. Well, they were like, instead of just being posts, they were cut individually with a pattern. And I think the one house in the middle was already missing part of that railing that went down the stairs, but it still had the front porch railing. So anyway, they were removed, and I thought I saw them working on it. I live right around the corner. That they were just like replacing the porch, but anyway, they were replaced with just like a standard white railing with white posts, that very standard for the stairs and for the front porch. And it's you notice that if you notice these little moments, but as I said, it's not like it matched precisely to the others, but enough. These little things that are taken away piece by piece are going to make it just not special anymore. But yeah, it's the furthest house up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. It's private property, so it's tricky.
I think one of the things we should keep in mind going forward is ways of raising public awareness about these buildings. The essay contest is one, and it's one I'm proud of. And I hope we can keep up the momentum in other ways, beyond the essay contest in 2021 to raise public awareness about the buildings in this village that contribute to its historic character and its distinctive character. So let's think about it. Okay, with that, and thank you again, Catherine, for sharing. I make a motion to adjourn. Would anyone second the motion?
I second.
Okay, all in favor?
Hi.
We're all in favor. Well, I will see all of you next month. I wish you all the best in this new year. Let's hope it gets better for everybody. It's been a hard number of weeks and months. My goodness.